Fluorspar can be an unpredictable city. But fluency doesn't mitigate its problems. In some ways, it amplifies them. This is why we're deployed. But we've seen better days.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her. Our lack of data collection is a problem.
Valdez, I'm aware of your investigative talents. Braxwell spoke highly of you, and that's why you're on this team. Local law enforcement handles itself very well. But there are those with abilities. Some believe themselves to be good. Others don't even attempt to act as if they are. Either way, we're involved. Not everyone will agree with our status. But that can be said for anything. May I remind you both, we're ALPHACORE, and failure is not what we do.
What is going on, everybody? We are live. It's actually my second time being live today here on the channel, but this is going to be a very special one because we're finally able to make this happen, though we did stream together yesterday on Tuesday night's main event. We're now on my channel, and we're going to be chatting everything ALPHACORE. It's going to be very ALPHACORE centric today with, of course, the writer of ALPHACORE, number one, Mr. Chuck DIXON. Brother, how you doing?
Pretty good, very good. I'm 800,000 good.
Hell yeah. Well, let's actually go to that right now. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at some of these updates. Actually, these aren't the latest numbers here. It's a cash issue. We're actually, if I can give more updated, I think we're at 106. 806,000 is actually where we're at. And this has been an insane, to kind of think we're just Wednesday. We have like 73 days to go still in this campaign. So who knows how high it is going to climb. We have our covers, actually cover D is actually already over 3,000, but it looks like B and C are edging on. Those will be over 3,000 sold as well. So thank you all for the continued support for this entire project. We did add, I want to go ahead and bring this up because we did just add this as a hidden 800K mark with Brian, as well as Isam. What's your favorite part? As these people that have asked us a million times, we now have a shirt where you can wear that with Brian, of course, and Isam. It's evergreen. So when people are going to ask you what your favorite part of ALPHACORE is, once that drops, you'll be able to grab that and point to it. And, you can decide for yourself if you actually want to engage in that conversation. Nonetheless, this is now live. It went live at 800,000. So be sure to go check that out right now. But Since we have last streamed here, if I'm not mistaken, there are some updates. Cover C graded, signed by Chuck Dixon, of course, has been completely sold out. Those are done. And I've gotten emails, I've gotten some direct messages of people asking, hey, are there some more? I will say this much. If there are going to be more, they'd be released at the tail end of the campaign, and it wouldn't be that many. It's like, okay, we have to make sure we have our overages for damages and all sorts of stuff. We got to make sure that we cover our bases there. So you never know with this type of stuff, definitely with in case stuff, CGC or whatever. So we'll know if we can afford to say, okay, here's a few more, but that's all it's going to be. It's not like it's going to be that many. It'll only be a few for any cover that sells out. And all of them for sure by the end of the campaign are going to sell out. The CGC signed by, of course, the great Chuck Dixon copies, but C is already gone. The cover itself, remember, it's only 5,000 of those covers in itself. So we're over halfway before those are going to just get cut off altogether. So you can't even get the unsigned one. So be sure to keep tabs on that. I know Friday, everybody's getting hold off the Friday. Can you hold off Friday? That's not on me to dictate. I know everybody gets paid Friday, but that's the inventory is the inventory. I can't control that. People may be a little quicker. You may have to be a little quicker than that, but we know we're going to get a big boost on going into Friday, and we don't know what is going to be left. So again, thank you guys for the continued support. Pin comment. It's also in the description, if I'm not mistaken, for you to be able to go pre-order ALPHACORE #1. It will start fulfillment next month. Next month, we're going to start fulfillment. So be sure to go ahead and put your orders in right now if you have not already. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support. As well, we're rocking and rolling over at the warehouse, getting things done, pre-packaged, getting things prepped. We'll see how fast a lot of this stuff goes. And yes, we also will, of course, start talking more and more as we get closer to it. We're not spoiling anything, but we'll start talking more as fulfillment happens and about maybe what's going on in the interior, because you guys, before the campaign ends, the campaign doesn't end until January, like the 20th, as it says right here. So you guys are going to start getting material long before that is the people that have ordered on the front half of the campaign. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for the support. We know Chuck does. Everybody, Joe, everybody is a part of this project. Appreciate you guys so much. You're really, we're living a dream right now. So I appreciate you guys so much. So with that being said, going right into it, we're talking ALPHACORE. I know I've asked this question, and you're going to be asked this question a million times as we kind of do our little tours here. But if you can, in Chuck's own words, giving people a breakdown of what ALPHACORE is sort of all about.
Well, ALPHACORE is the superpowered cops, the super cops trio of superpowered police officers. And unlike your usual superheroes who are masked vigilantes with secret identities, these are publicly known figures who are public servants. They are cops. They're there to protect and serve. And some tension arises within the Forest Park Police Department because they don't want to just be a blunt force instrument. They want to be real cops. They want to investigate. They want to be part of the protocol. They want to be part of the procedures. And they sort of take it upon themselves to begin investigating cases rather than simply being brought in when the crap hits the fan. And then we have the two main villains that are ones that Eric suggested I use, who are kind of the masterminds behind all the chaos going on in the story. And they have their cat's paws, their proxies, these new supervillains that I've created, who cause all kinds of problems for ALPHACORE. And of course, we're exploring these characters more. I mean, they've already been introduced in this universe, but we're exploring them more, helping you learn more about them, giving them their own individual personalities and voices and all the rest of it. And it's basically like a police action movie, but with superhero elements. So you get the best of both worlds, in my opinion. And all drawn by Joe Bennett, who is just jaw-droppingly amazing artist. He's one of those rare artists who he brings the eye candy, but he is an awesome storyteller as well.
Oh yeah,
just a master of the craft.
Most definitely, man. And seeing some of and we'll talk about the script, but to your point, Joe's art coming back, the pencils coming back on this stuff it was something to even just the first couple of pages. I'm like, damn, this guy is so good, man. He is so good. We could not have picked just a better artist for this story. And I made this point before. I made it with Az yesterday I think we were on the Real BBC, when I made the point of, look, what you do so well and what you have done, how Joe Bennett is, his strengths, what he's good at, and you were writing for, like, hey, let Joe shine type of approach with it. And that, if for one, that in itself is a talent, right? And make no mistake, that's a talent. But seeing it come to life, it's just a hand and glove fit. So the work in itself is all good. I'll show just a little bit of it, just so you guys can see. We already have the books in hand. This is how more the interior is going to end up looking. This is Joe Bennett has cover A. This is his cover right here. So this is the quality of that you're getting, and he's just so incredibly he's just good, just absolutely incredible at what it is that he does. And again, I love him to death, and hopefully we all working on other things, and we want to make sure that we keep him around and continue to do work, which kind of brings me to the next point. Well, I know it's kind of a funny question, but I would at least like, I guess definitely for the audience, as much perspective as we can possibly get. But what was the approach, with this story it is that you were trying to tell? Like, was it like a goal per se in mind? Was it just tell a story and you kind of, or is it one of those you just let the pen kind of do its thing? Like, what was Chuck Dixon's approach when going into before writing that first draft of that story?
Well, I usually think of big scenes first, and I knew I had Joe, so I could have big scenes.
Absolutely.
I wanted to end the story on, massive, Michael Bay level destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there. I mean, and Joe just draws it in loving detail, huge impact. So I knew that's where I wanted to go, but I also wanted to have all the elements of a police thriller, if stuff I like, like a Lethal Weapon movie or something like that, and then combine it with all my favorite superhero tropes. The thing about superheroes, and I think the thing that's missing a lot in the superhero genre today, is the greatest thing about superheroes is the coolness factor.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are badasses.
Yeah.
And they are cool, even in the worst circumstances. They're going to come out on top. And that's what I like about this universe you created. I call it a blue sky universe. It's optimistic.
Yeah.
It's not dark and grim and depressing. I don't want to read comics to make me feel bad. I don't think anybody else does either. These comics make you feel good. They make you feel like you've been taken on a ride. And that's the experience I wanted to bring. But I really began with the big scene and then worked backwards from that. And I knew all the elements I wanted in there. And then it was a matter of working out the mystery, because mysteries you have to kind of work backwards.
Yeah.
And working out the procedure and making sure it all flowed seamlessly.
Right. So is it a challenge? I don't want to say if it's a challenge, because obviously you've done it for as long as you've been doing this. But we talked about it briefly before, but you're dealing with three different characters, right? In the trio that is ALPHACORE, right? So with Braxwell, Brian, and you got Ingrid. And they're different people. Like, they're not just, hey, ALPHACORE as the brand and that's it. It's nothing, they're just in there just to be there. These guys have their own personality. How did you go approach that in trying to convey that, differentiating those characters with ALPHACORE as you're writing?
Well, I mean, for me, to give them three distinct personalities. Brian was fascinating because he's an ex-military guy. He's an ex-military, ranking officer. This guy had a high rank in the Army. But I didn't want a guy who talks in military jargon all the time, was kind of a drill instructor, kind of an a-hole all the time. So yeah, he talks like a military guy in that he's very direct when he talks, but he's not full of himself. He's obviously the leader of the group. He's the alpha male, but he doesn't press that. And we have a couple of scenes that are humor scenes, not comedy, but humor. in which he's the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
And he's fine with it. He's like, okay, yeah, okay. You can laugh at me. I messed up. And then we got Braxwell, and for me, he's kind of Clint Eastwood. He doesn't talk much. He's all you learn about him through what he does.
Yeah.
And you never know what he's thinking, and you never know how he's going to react until he reacts. And then Ingrid, she's a superhero and she's a cop, but she's still in a man's world. And she's got the toughest hill to climb to prove her that she belongs with this group. Despite having superpowers, they're going to go up against some really scary supervillains. These guys are frightening, right? And you really, if I've done my job, you're going to worry about the safety and the lives of our lead characters. And so it's a tough battle she's in every single time, but she rises to the top because, to my mind, if you're a woman in a physical situation like that, your intent is to get the other guy down and never let him up. And that's Ingrid. She's never going to she's never going to give an enemy a second chance at her.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, and coming up with voices for each of them that are just.
Yeah, and I know before I remember you mentioning, like, this is Texas, right? This is Flores Park, Texas. So it's very much a Texas city. It's funny, we were watching, I remember reading some of the comments, and I was like, people, it's not that they didn't like it, right? But they, for example, heard the voice of him in animation. Right. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Not say that it was bad, but it's like they weren't expecting it because, you don't really see that. Like, this is a much Texas, Solari is Texan, he's Southern. This is what he is, right? And it's fun to kind of entertain that because, especially in the comic book space, we don't see a lot of that. And I'm not saying that just because I'm from Texas. That was actually because I knew it and I understood it was really a big part of why we started there with the Riververse. And it was also going to be just refreshing in the sense that, well, this is not done a lot, right? You see, we know New York City has a million, people, characters that are there. We know on the other coast, we see those all the time. Yeah, you might get some middle America stuff. You got Superman and stuff that's in there, but you don't really see, especially the South, like portrayed a lot in comics, and that's why it was cool to start there. But it also gives the city itself, and that's what you're doing a phenomenal job of. We're giving it that personality, right? That this is very much a Texas city and very much a Texas town. So I don't want to give too much away, but we got some other projects that really, really go kind of in the thick of this, and I can't wait to at some point be able to announce those. But considering that Flores Park, right, we're giving it a little more context. I would argue that this we did get some of that in ISOM too, but I would argue that ALPHACORE, especially considering what ALPHACORE means to the city, you're getting a lot more perspective on what the city is about, especially how ALPHACORE kind of plays into that. What was the approach with writing that? Because I've heard you mention it before that this is a Texas town, Texas city, and that was your approach before.
Yeah, Texas cities. I mean, cities in Texas are different. Just like cities in Florida are different. Cities up north are different. And my bona fides, I know I'm a guy from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What do I know? But my dad was an unreconstructed West Virginia hillbilly, so I know all about below the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
And my wife is her family's all from Arkansas, so
most of mine is.
So I got some experience. And the thing for me is, a lot of writers, I'm going to write a Texan, and they write the stereotypical meaning, moron, I'm like that. That's not what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
It's more about their attitude,
mm-hmm.
Than trying to ape the speech patterns and stuff like that. Because, you talk just like anybody else. Yeah, you got an accent, but I'm not going to try to do an accent.
Yeah.
That reads horrible.
Yeah.
It does. But yeah, I mean, just trying to give this place a feel of its own with the way the city's constructed and the different features of the city, and trying to add some I know you're doing the same thing, trying to add some consistency with like names of hospitals, names of bridges,
Yeah.
What are the supermarket chains called? What are the fast food chains called? I mean, I was helping out Joe designing logos
Yeah. Yeah.
for new restaurant chains.
Yeah.
So we can feature these again and again and again to bring consistency to it.
Yeah. And
And
that
plus, I want some T-shirts. I created a fish restaurant called Boy Howdy, and I want a Boy Howdy.
we're gonna get all of that. Like that's what's gonna be so fun about this part, and because you have like it's obviously in universe cool stuff, right? And as I'm world building, you're doing the same thing. And I get like giddy. I'm like, well, yeah, this is absolutely can be a t-shirt. We got like Club Merc for my son, right? Like that was a big bit. People are like, where's the Merc security shirts? Because they saw Santuan wearing it. Or Projexis. That was a big part of ISOM too, right? So seeing that, are we gonna get some Projexis merchandise? Like that is it's fun. Like it's really fun to do. And now that because we're at the ground level, we get to do stuff, and we're going to continue to see this stuff in future product. And it's just having a blast here. I mean,
and it brings the fans in, especially the core fans, because to me, if you're a real fan of something, the more obscure the reference, the more it's like, hey, I'm really into this. You see somebody else wearing the same thing, or they get what the t-shirt was, and it forms a community there.
Yep.
Around basically a big inside joke.
That's essentially what it is, right? And if you know type of situation.
Yeah, that stuff's fun. That's fun.
That's what this is about. This is what we talk about enthusiasm and what this is. With these properties right here with the Rippaverse that everybody's a part of, whether it be the ISOMs, whether it be you and ALPHACORE, whether it be with the Saskas and what they're about to do with Yaira here, it's the same thing. It's like we're having a level of enthusiasm. And to me, that's what comics was about. It kind of strayed away from that, and that's what it used to be about. And this is fun, man. And the fact that we're able to kind of entertain this stuff right now, and so early on, and seeing all this success, which means we're able to subsidize future ideas, which and make those come to life. That's that. I was talking about it before the show. I'm doing my campaign tour, right? This is what we kind of have to do. We got to get out here, get in front of everybody to talk. But seeing the level of success that ALPHACORE does, it's so motivating, because I'm like, I want to get back to work, man. I got so many ideas. Right now, man. It's hard.
Well, it's got to be a kick for you because, I mean, you did 2 books on your own, extraordinarily successful, but you'd had to be wondering, well, is this just because of me? Is this just because of my following? Or am I really building something? And then you were generous enough to bring me on, let me play in your playground. And it's turned into something now. And I'm sure you got to be really happy about that.
I am. I mean, I kind of talked about this in the first stream back, where it's like, look, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I mean, look, I don't want to say we're nervous or stressed. That's not the proper term. It's more like everybody's kind of on the edge because
it's an unknown.
Yeah, bingo. It is an unknown. It's some uncertainty there because this is another property. This is not our ISOM. We got the first book and that's the launch, and that is what it is. But then with the second one, that was the staying power, right? That was like, okay, that's issue number 2. It did what it
wasn't a fluke.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was more than a fluke. People are actually intrigued. And okay, so ISOM is going to be a mainstay. But now we're going into another property. So we don't know, you never know with this type of stuff. You've been in the business, so you absolutely know that. So there was some uncertainty there, and man, you got crushed pretty quickly. The minute we got like 5 hours, we're at $500,000. I'm like, okay, well, this is for real. This is for real, for sure.
We can keep doing this.
Yeah, we keep doing this. It's the first non-ISOM project. It is. It literally is the first non-ISOM project.
And it's the first. Really, I mean, I know it's related to everything you do, but it's the first Eric July not necessarily related. Obviously you contributed to it, but you aren't part of the main crew. So, they support that. I mean, little inside baseball. I mean, my first project, like solo project for Richard Meyer, underperformed in his opinion and mine because his followers didn't see that he was as involved with it as prior ones. But this isn't that situation.
Yeah. Most definitely. And like I said, you never know with this type of stuff.
You never know. You never know.
You never know, and that is part. Some of it can be fun. I mean, I don't shy away from it by any means. I already know there's going to be risks taken. Risks are going to be taken. Some things going to hit it, knock it out the park. Some are going to be okay. Some might not be performing up to standard. It's like that. But to be legitimized that early on, like that quickly, like, okay, we're going to be able to do this and continue to do this for a bit.
Well, it demonstrates a level of trust.
Yeah.
With the fans that are buying this, that they know we're not phoning it in.
Mm-hmm.
They know we're going to deliver the best product we can deliver, that we're all into this.
Yep.
And so that's man, you can't buy that.
True. Yeah. That's why we're so thankful here. We're so thankful for being in the position that it is that we are in, to be able to create. And I am thankful, obviously blessed, to be able to work alongside you and continue to definitely learn and grow here, even especially as a writer, picking up on the things that it is that you kind of taught me. It's awesome. It's a great experience all around for me, for everybody that's here. Everybody's stoked, everybody's enthusiastic about it, and I think the audience sees that, right? They see that this isn't just, it's not a get rich quick scheme. This is like something that we're actually invested in, and we're showing that by continuing to deliver the product, and they're responding by, of course, trading their hard-earned dollars, and we appreciate them. And it's on us to just kind of keep them interested, keep them intrigued. And we know that our stories and the art, that's what it's gonna do. But
it's keeping us intrigued. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I'm in a position to wake up and do what it is that I love. I'm able to work alongside people that I've certainly looked up to in this industry. And that to me is worth, I can't put a price tag on that feeling, because I know a lot of people don't get that opportunity to be able to work up and work and do what it is that they actually love to do and have fun and enjoyment. So in some cases, it doesn't even feel like work, that we're doing this, because this is something that we so thoroughly enjoy. So, and again, I think the work is reflective of that, and how real that all of this is, how you're interactive with the fans, how Saskas, they're in the chat right now, they're interactive with the fans, and people pick up on that. This is a level of just comics that something that was missing, and I think that, and this is for me I'm looking at this from a both customer perspective as well as a creative. I think this is just so important, and it's just fun, and I'm having a blast. And like I said, I'm thankful that we're in this position. Okay, so I don't get too far behind, because we got a lot to talk about. Yep. And it's probably not enough time in the world to talk about it all. But I do want to make sure that, because I know there's questions, also stuff coming in, that I don't get too far behind on some of these super chats. So I'm going to get in on them now. Appreciate you becoming a YouTube member there. I think that was at the end of the last streams, actually. No, Zaku boy, I appreciate that as well. Going in on the joke, Eric Bailey says, my favorite part of ALPHACORE is when Braxwell shouts at the alien, you did not shoot that green shit at me. Then he puts on his Air Ice sneakers and catwalks behind Bikini Yara. Brought me to tears. Brought tears to my eyes. Hell all. And yes, you can get the what was your favorite part t-shirt. It is live over there on the ALPHACORE page. You can get that if you have not already got that. I appreciate that. Eric Jeremy becoming a member, I appreciate that. Chuck deserved every bit of this success. Marcos, our concept artist there. Mike Barron actually emailed us today talking about some of that and his experience working with Marcos. Shout out to Marcos, man. Appreciate
Marcos, good guy.
Yeah, great guy. And Chuck, he does deserve every bit of this success. And I'm just, again, this is the way that I see it. Like I'm the one blessed to be in his presence. Because again, having him work here is just valuable. It's just valuable beyond, I can't put, again, a price tag on it. It's just valuable. I'm soaking up so much information with him being here, man. And I love him. Avery with it too says, forget deserved, man's earned. Yeah, he has been around the block. And that is very, very true. Good point, Avery Parker. Josh with a 20, no message. I appreciate that, man. We got 5, got all 4+ signed cover D. Well, shout out. Pump says, Christ Manson, thank you so much. There. K Crusader with a 5 says, though I don't agree with all your politics, I pre-ordered ALPHACORE yesterday. I really like ISOM 1 and 2, and you've not disappointed. Yeah, man, I don't care about any of that, the political stuff. I've said it a million times, like, you can buy, I don't care where you're at, you can go buy this stuff because we're about entertaining you first and foremost. Right. And I'm glad that you are enjoying the work of ISOM 1 and 2, and for sure ALPHACORE, you're gonna love it if you love those 2 books. So I'm glad that you're into it, and I appreciate you being here. Brother, thank you so much. Vito Prashad with a 20 says, can't wait to see more of the dynamic between cops and excepts. And you do see a lot of that in this. Chuck does a great job of kind of,
it gets wild.
Yeah, it gets kind of crazy. It gets kind of crazy in ALPHACORE. So you're going to see a lot of that. And again, how, like, you can imagine that there's going to be conflict, right, when you have such a setup, and Chuck does a great job of entertaining those ideas, and makes it so engaging in the story, because you can imagine like that could create some tension there. So thank you so much for that 20, Vito Prashad. We have best name I can think of says, what a 5, I can't wait for my copy for Chuck. Do you have any tips for keeping your characters from sounding the same when they speak?
You just kind of create a voice in your head, even if it has to be a voice of someone you know. I wrote a character for years called Skywolf, and in my head, it was my dad's voice. Everything he said, my dad could have said, and sometimes had said. So, it's just that kind of thing. You kind of pick like a lexicon. Like when I wrote Nightwing, I didn't want him to be Batman Jr. So Nightwing speaks a lot more casually. He says gonna and wanna. And, a lot more casually, less formally than Bruce Wayne. So, just things like that, just hear a voice in your head.
There you go. Continuing on, let me make sure that I got this. Oh, you also gifted 10 subs, man. Appreciate your memberships. Thank you for that, Vito Prashad, as well, in addition to that.
Thank you.
So continuing on, Brandon with a 5 says, it's all about Ingrid Valdez for me. Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett, freaking give me already. It'll be here in a month from now. You're gonna get Ingrid, you're gonna get Chuck and Joe's book here. It's amazing, man. It's amazing. Aaron Fay with a 10 says, Braxwell feels like an enforcer, which I like, very RoboCop, but without the robotics. He's I like Chuck's description of him. That's who Braxwell is.
He's enigmatic. He's like Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
Joe. He's enigmatic. Makes you curious about him.
Yep, exactly. Scorpio with a 5 said, who did the voice for Brian in the trailer? If you actually look at the trailer, let me make sure I'm not like making stuff up because I remember saying that I was going to do this, and I want to make sure that I actually did it. So let me make sure that I didn't fluff this up. Yes, I did put it in there. So yes, David Brewer was his name, was the voice actor. Y'all know who Amanda C. Miller is. She did the voice of Ingrid, and I did all the grunts and all that stuff as I have before. I saw him kick where he's yelling. Obviously, that's me there. So yeah, but David Brewer, first, as soon as I heard him, we're doing our tryout. As soon as I heard him, I was like, that's why I envisioned Brian being, I want him to have some, like, it was just a twang to it, you know what I mean? That we needed him to have, and David just absolutely knocked it out the park. So shout out Scorpio, appreciate that 5. All right, we got Royal Wolf, and I appreciate that y'all. That's why Chuck's here. You're asking questions about the book and everything, so feel free to do that. Royal Wolf with a 10 says, question for Chuck. You mentioned starting with big scenes since you knew you were working with Joe Bennett. Is that your typical approach to writing, or was this specific to working with Joe?
No, I generally start with the big scene. Like what is it that I want to, what's the big climactic scene, or what's the big scene to intro it, and then work from there. I mean, every writer works differently. Some start with character, some start with just the plot, but I think of a big scene. So yeah, with Joe, it was a bigger scene. It had to be really huge, but that's generally how I work.
It is. Appreciate that 10. Royal Wolf says, CJ with a 10 says, hail Eric, hail Chuck, excited for ALPHACORE. Eric, do you see yourself switching your role on the team, from an Allen Iverson scoring champ role to a Steve Nash playmaking and facilitating role. That's actually a good sort of reference. And like, I don't have to do everything. And I've realized that, I mean, even with my internal team, like that does the day-to-day stuff, some people Chuck got to meet the other day, I trust them to do their thing, right? They're awesome people, and I don't get in the way with that. I'm not a micromanager. I don't understand the point of having people around if you're not going to trust them to do their job. If you don't believe they can, then get them out. It doesn't make any sense to have people there that you don't trust. So, but from the creative stuff, which I'd imagine is what it is that you're saying, I mean, I guess we're kind of even already doing that, right? It's like, I'm picking my spots, right? Like with the characters like ALPHACORE, yeah, I might have created them, but you have a guy that's maybe better suited to definitely in that team environment, considering what maybe, Chuck's done, like with Bat Family and stuff. He's done Birds of Prey, he's done these team element stuff. And I'm like, maybe that's something that he's better suited to do that, considering his experience. So I guess we're already there, because with Yaira, I mean, I literally cannot think of someone better, a group better than the Saskas to do this character, right? Like I just can't. It's impossible for me to think of anybody that's better suited for them. So we're kind of there, and I guess naturally I'm going to have to gravitate towards that anyway if we want this to grow. I can't be writing every damn thing. That's not the goal here. But setting people up for success, I think that's the point, right? It's like setting people up for success. If I'm giving people some story ideas or whatever, I want to make sure that I'm giving them concepts that I know are their strengths. And I guess that we are kind of doing that. And it can be a little difficult, but when you're working like with the Chuck, I have no reservations there. I'm like, he knows who the characters are now. Let him do his thing. And he will, he'll score. And that's exactly what he did with ALPHACORE. So absolutely, we're going to continue to grow, and facilitating is a lot of what it is that we're kind of doing, because definitely with these, I think that is my strength. Character creation, I think, is my strength, big strength of mine. And as well as giving them context with other characters, in the fact that it won't get in the way of that character story. Like I think in ISOM 2, the Gooding introduction and the Bloodruth introduction, where I went through that and I wrote that down, and there were some things that when I went over it the second time, I swapped some things out. I changed it a little bit, but I was really confident that we came up with a story that made sense, number one, and it still felt like ISOM's story. So what happens is now people are demanding that she gets her own book. They demanded that Gooding got their own book, and we got Mike Barron to do that, the Polemuth. So giving context to that character. So we are kind of already doing that, and I think that that's going to have to be the goal for the future if we want to flesh this out. It cannot be me, and it won't just be me. It's impossible. So.
And the key is bringing in people who are into it. I mean,
yep.
Eric said, "Well, I got Joe Bennett to draw this." Oh, that's great. He's a terrific artist. Then I start working with Joe, and Joe is as dedicated to this as the rest of us. Joe's like, "What if we did this? What if we did that?" He's coming up with all these ideas. Yeah. I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'll run it by Eric. Yeah, okay, I like that idea." So he's into it. He's not just a pencil monkey.
Mm-hmm.
He's involved in the collaborating in the creative process.
He is.
Which is what you want. And that's true of everyone that Eric's brought on board so far.
Yep.
So
that's a fact. It's a fact. So thank you for that. CJ, it's a great question, by the way. Great questions coming in, man. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Before I read this next one, I'll refresh this just to see. We're kind of just, we're keeping tabs on it. We actually, we're almost at 810,000 right now. So it's creeping on to come up. So appreciate y'all. Pinned comment. You can get the direct link going directly to the deal. I'm gonna read a couple of more. I know there's a bunch. We will get back to them, but I do have an announcement for you guys here in a bit. Andrew, if you're here, go ahead and start getting that prepped up, if you don't mind, and then we'll go. Someone said, while we're still streaming, just take our money, says Walter Brandon in the chat. Dean Williams with a 5 says, hamsters cheated, bro. They hired Santorn's big ass to guard the door. They did. Our server hamsters told y'all they weren't playing. Otherwise, we'd have fried their ass again. But seriously, congrats on the win. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, we invested a lot in the infrastructure. I told y'all the hamsters that we imported that were on steroids from Guatemala that were running our servers this time around. You were not going to crash the site, and you didn't crash the site. I got the message from Andrew there. I tell you what, Andrew, just go ahead and do it. Do it now. I'll do it right now. We'll do it live. Guys, I see a bunch of super chats. You guys are asking great questions about, and I see Dean there too. Says Kamala Khan. So I know what you're referring to, Dean. I appreciate that too as well. But I do have an announcement. For you guys. I kind of briefed Chuck on this here in a little bit. So go ahead and, if you don't mind, just green lighting that, please. Andrew, and I'm gonna pull this up right now and make sure I got my screen shared here. And yeah, as soon as this goes up, got some great news. Some stuff that I want to show you, you all about this, and we will get back to the super chats. Like I said, guys, there's a bunch of them coming in, so just hold what you got. Andrew, give him a little bit of time, and he's gonna get this going. And yes, we are almost at 810. Let me see where we're at actually with over 7,300 total purchases. That's huge. Thank you guys so much. Cover B is under 100 away from being from hitting 3,000. So appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let me refresh this and see if we are good to go. We're not good to go quite yet. We're getting there. Let me pull this up real quick. I'll get once soon as it's up, guys. I'm gonna show you. I know, great news. Yes, nervous drinking. Someone said, trust me, it is some big news though. You guys are gonna love what it is that we're about to show you. Let me read one more while he's getting prepared for that. I'll read one more. Captain Hyrule with a 10 says, my favorite part of ISOM 2 is when ISOM fights all the demons. He's throwing them around, smacks them around, then his victorious fist in the air and shouts, Black Lives Matter. Yes, that is that's what happened in ISOM 2 after he bested the demons. Captain Hyrule, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let me refresh this because he did say that it's up, and there it is right now. So we have a massive announcement here, guys. I'm gonna share this screen. Where am I at? I think it's, let me make sure it's, yeah, there it is. Cool. Bam. Okay. Ooh. So what this is right here that you are looking at is the cover, also done by Kane and White. Same guy that did the Yaira one and the short box that's over there. Gooding the Polymath, wrote by Mike Barron.
All right.
This is the cover for it. The graphic novel that is. This is why it's not Gooding number one. Gooding the Polymath. So technically our first one of, first like full graphic novel, just, has some intention there. Gooding the Polymath. He became a fan favorite after ISOM 2. Sleeper. I did mention him on the cover. I mentioned him on the cover of cover A. Do I have that with me? No, I don't. I got D. I'm looking at. I did mention him. I did. I mentioned Gooding, but we didn't say anything about it. So everything that people got, this is how we know people actually read the book. Because they demanded that a character that we didn't do any merch or anything like with Blood Ruth or anything. We didn't do any of that. But he became a fan favorite, so we figured let's give some more context to this character. He does something unique. Gooding offers his emergency services on the outskirts of Flores Park, and yeah, this is a good book, good script, well announced artist, all that stuff in the future. Mike Barron's a part of it here, but this is the main cover art. Some things subject to change, but this is the main cover art for Gooding the Polymath. That was our, what was that? Was that our, I can't remember, was it 400, 500? I can't remember which benchmark that it actually was that we hit that, you could get this. But the Polymath is written by the legendary the legendary, absolute legendary Mike Barron. You guys know him for doing a lot of, like, some people, like Chuck's done some Punisher as well. Mike's done Punisher.
Well, you say you learned from me. I learned from Mike.
There you go.
I worked in Mike's shadow when I first got into comics. He was the top dog. He was the man to beat, writing Nexus and Badger and stuff like that. So,
there you
Mike
go.
is an awesome talent.
He is. OG Mike, man. He's so good. It's 500K. I got that update. So thank you. Appreciate that. So it was the 500K mark. This is what we promised you. We've already shown you the Yaira cover, which was at 300 or so. And here you go. This is what it looks like. So shout out to my man's Mike Barron. It's such a good story. I'm so glad that he was able to, he wanted to do this. He was stoked to do it. And I'm so enthusiastic about it, like I am with everything Rippaverse. But yet again, same thing I've said before. I knew early on that I had to surround myself with people that knew what the fuck they were doing if this was going to sustain us. If this was going to work long term, I said, hey, I got to get people that know what it is that they're doing. So I went out there and I wanted to work with folks that I knew what they were doing and I could learn from, that could help us grow this universe. That's what needs to be at the ground level is people that are experts, if you will, at what it is they do. So shout out to Mike. He wrote a great story for you guys. This will be coming out around springtime as this notes. So this is the first cover. You go to Rippaverse, all social media, you can see it here if you want to see it a little more in detail. So thank you guys so much for that $500,000 mark. There are some other projects depending on where we get. Eventually some of these projects are going to get announced, but I believe it's like at a couple of million or whatever it is. You get Chuck's other project that's actually being already produced that we have not announced. We'll be announcing that. We got to do it eventually anyway, but at some point you can expect that to be announced if we hit these benchmarks. So thank y'all. We appreciate you. You guys are incredible. So let me get back to the super chats. Just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that that was a thing. And I'm also going to give it an old repost over there. Okay. Now, what else we got? Boy Howdy shirts. Please.
I haven't even seen it yet.
They haven't seen it yet, and they want it. I respect that. Hell yeah. Darian Murphy with a file. Just place my order to contribute to the Rip the Lamborghini fund. I'm not buying a Lamborghini. We'll sign and grade it. Cover D. Come back in stock.
I was driving down there in Texas when I visited you. I could have used the Lamborghini. Man, you're not aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm in a little Toyota that's fighting for my lane.
It is aggressive out here, man. That's such is Texas, man. But I'm guessing you mean a graded cover C because that's the one that sold out. Cover D is still there, unless something changed. But cover D is still there. I'll give maybe some of those updated numbers later today. But cover D is still there. Again, if there is I will say there's a chance. I'm not guaranteeing it because I can't. I actually would, trend towards maybe it won't happen. But if there are going to be more available ones, you're going to have to wait to the end of the campaign when we're able to more accurately assess our numbers. And if we do have some to give, we will make them available then, and we'll let you know.
We always sign some safeties, but you never know how many are going to be left over at the end.
Yep, exactly. So perhaps, but just give us some time to work through that.
Can't promise.
Yeah, can't promise at all. So we'll see what happens. Darren, I appreciate you with that 5. Thank you so much. 14 months. That's a while from Josh, man. Shout out. We got a 2 from Avery Parker says you don't like his politics. You can still buy my. Yeah, I know there's comic pros that say the complete opposite. But you can absolutely buy our books. If no matter where you're at on the political spectrum there. Silver Phantom, I appreciate that 5. Thank you. Our Brown with a 5 says, how many scripts is Legend completed on this live stream? I figured over 3. He's quick. Chuck is quick, man. Chuck is quick. I will say that much. I would not be surprised if, even though he's looking at us, even if he wasn't looking at us, maybe he's got a third eye and he's figured it out. And he was actually writing a script while he's talking to us. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, now you got Barron too, man. That guy's fast too. So
Barron's quick.
He's always telling me to slow down. I'm like, what the hell? Every time I turn around, you got a new project.
Yeah, he is quick. he is 100% quick. He's quick. All right, we have CJ with a 5 says, curious to see the dynamic of the ALPHACORE members' individual morals versus being a government agency. Yeah, they're very much a wing of the police, and they handle the accept threats. And again, that's type of dynamic is really entertained, and how that impacts even each member individually is you see that in ALPHACORE, the book. So this is why you're gonna love that read for sure. Willie Jack Black with a 10. Looking forward to reading ALPHACORE. I bought 3 books. I don't think this question spoils anything, but does the book expand on the powers of each ALPHACORE member? It also, unless there's another one that I don't see another. Well, you see it. I will say this much. You see them in action. You see what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
In this book, right? That is put like greatly portrayed in this book.
Yeah, we delineate, their pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
How far they can go, how powerful are they? How indestructible are they? So
you see a lot.
I have Brian reference, the guy shooting at him point blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to hurt me, but it hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
And these capes aren't free.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. So you do see that. You saw that in the interior work that you guys saw. You saw Brian taking some gunshots. So, that's the type of stuff that you want to pay attention to, because even same can be said with the Oscars. We're not just like, writing down to the audience. We don't want to insult you guys' intelligence. There, you guys are able to use some context clues for sure there. Josh with a 5. What is my favorite part of ALPHACORE? Not having to wait years to get my book. Totally understand. I understand. There's some stuff happens in our space. It gets a bad rep. I totally get it. Where people are waiting longer than they'd like to get material that you've already given money to. Well, here you don't have to worry about that. We make sure that we don't even announce it. Chuck, I remember would joke about that. He's like, man, you know how to keep a secret. We wouldn't even announce it until I had all my ducks in a row. Once the ducks are in a row, I was like, okay, we can finally let everybody know about it. But
I saw the books, my friends. I saw the books.
Yeah.
They're there.
They're there. Yeah, he saw them. So they are there, and we're rocking and rolling. So you won't be waiting. You won't be waiting forever. That's something that I do understand sets us apart from a lot of independents, but that's not why I do it. It's more so I think that we're able to gain your trust by simply delivering on the product it is in the timely matter. I think that just only can benefit us going into the future. So
we don't want to take advantage of your enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly. So Jay Russ with a 10 says, one of my favorite parts is Gooding. Most series would make him learn a lesson for trying to make money being a hero, if not a jerk or evil. Here it's shown as a good thing. Also, Gooding won win. I know we'll see. Well, let's see how Plymouth, how that works out. And now entertain if we're going to give him his own ongoing series. We'll see. Let's take it one step at a time. But I know you guys look, and yeah, to your point, like, I was writing this character. I thought it was a cool concept, right? Because you look at the Shadow Valley, right? That's kind of where Avery's at. And he got his own ranch. It's on the outskirts. It's not in this massive city. It's on the outskirts. We got our ranchers. You got all these people that are around, and you can imagine. And I can say this as a guy that has lived in small towns. You can see where elements may get neglected, right? And Gooding comes by, and obviously, he has like this he does it all, right? He's all-in-one, does your security, your firefighting, everything. And he helps the people out there that are, I don't want to say are forgotten, because all of them, they're very capable people. And I wanted to make sure that's portrayed. Like, just because someone's in the country don't mean they can't do shit, right? Like, I think there's some people don't understand that, and I wanted to make sure I portrayed that because it's accurate, right? I'm being in Texas all my life. I know some of the most capable people I've ever met. Maybe don't stay inside the city per se, but they're better off in a lot of cases than what folks are in the city. And so you have these capable people, but there's other things that maybe they need some assistance on, and that's where you have Gooding here to kind of help out. So we wanted to make sure that I thought it was unique. I hadn't seen that really done a lot in comics, so that was the concept of the creation of Gooding. I tried to make something fresh, but appreciate you, J. Russ. Thank you for picking up on that. Headcase Laboratory with a 10 says, Chuck, super excited for ALPHACORE. Also, Rippaverse character, my OC Rippaverse character, excuse me, Alan Wells, aka Ripston, a deranged heroic except with powerful claws that can shred things on a molecular level. Thoughts? So you're saying me going, okay, I can see Ripston. Ripston, okay, I can see that. I can see that being a thing. Maybe we do something with ripping the silverback, and maybe those my powers start to progress with myself and Az on that. The other Steve with 5 says, can you all talk about the writing process for comic story longevity? How do you keep the win in the sales and not have the stories peter out? That's always a challenge. Definitely once you're doing ongoing stories, it's even a challenge for us because you got to understand we're doing long format stuff. So, you know, this is 4 or 5 issues in one book, right? You can imagine that. So I'll speak first and let Chuck speak for himself. But for me, I do want the stories to stand the test of time. And I understand that, especially with a story like ISOM, right? It's really super grounded. And not everybody's going to like that initially because everybody wants the boom everything immediately. And I know that's not for everybody, but it's necessary to give context to who that character is. And especially at the ground level of the universe in itself. Right. So I write, but in my approach, I just use ISOM as an example, is that, well, 5 years from now, people are going to go back to that, right? As a story that they want to pick up on, especially with this conflict with Darren, and that's happening in ISOM 1 and a little bit in ISOM 2, and obviously in ISOM 3 to complete this whole arc. So I'm writing with that in mind, right? I want to give you the best story. And like Chuck said, everybody's different. For me, I do keep in mind that I want to do this for years to come. So I am trying to write an intriguing story. I go out my way to do that will stand the test of time. And I will go out of my way to do that. I'll let Chuck speak on kind of his process there.
Well, I mean, the 2 words I hate most in the comic book genre are character driven. My story is character driven, which means I didn't come up with a story. I just rely on the fact this guy's cool, and I just have him do some cool stuff. No, that ain't how it works, you know. Because you see in Hollywood now, they just take the same characters and tell the same story over and over and over again. Every movie's a remake of the last movie. So, you know, you don't want to do that. You want to write a good story with your character in it, but you got to have a good story first. You know, you don't want it to be about your character. You want to have a good story that you put the character into. Like I always say, the best Batman movie ever made is Die Hard 3. You got Batman, you got Robin, you got the Riddler. It's an awesome Batman movie. It just doesn't have Batman, Robin, or the Riddler. And that's what bothers me about all the superhero movies. They're about the main character. It's not a great story with the character in it.
Oh,
you know? I mean, to me, you introduce your character like Eric's done with ISOM, like I'm doing with ALPHACORE. Now we know them. We've set them in motion. Now the challenges come. Now the deconstructed plot lines come. Now the crap hits the fan issue after issue, and that's how you do it.
Yep, there you go. We have a 5 from Hernandez, professional accountant, says Riververse keeps giving the fans what they want, which is more Chuck. Take my money to the bank, and God bless my fellow native Guatemala hamsters. So shout out to our Guatemalan hamsters. Shout out to Guatemala for sending us those hamsters as well. Lord of the Realm with a 14 months says, you guys do what Marvel and DC couldn't do. Get me to buy a comic book. Keep winning. Well, I'm glad that we could get you to buy a book. I appreciate you so much on that. Thank you for your support, and I'm glad we could earn your dollar there. All right, we got Evolution DL with a 5 says from the trailer, it seems Braxwell was the one who brought Ingrid into ALPHACORE, or Ingrid and Braxwell childhood friends. We'll tell those stories at some point, for sure. But yes, that is obviously confirmed. That some of that stuff was confirmed in the cards if you guys got them as well. But yes, that's the setup. Is that the reason why Ingrid is in ALPHACORE is due to Braxwell. But we'll entertain why that is, and we'll tell those stories. We got enough time in the world, man, to be telling those stories. So
that's the thing about this universe. There's so much to be told before it begins.
Yeah,
we're going to be telling a lot of that too.
Yep, exactly.
There was a whole story before the story began.
Yep. It's the issue 0. Yep, but that's for sure. Our Brownridge with a 2 says, damn, straight fire. I guess you're referring to Gooding the Polemuth. Thank you so much. Omni Mary Amen with a 20 says, do you have plans to expand your universe beyond? Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm not gonna announce some unannounced projects, but some unannounced projects actually entertain that. For sure. So yeah, that I can't. I'm not gonna have everything in Flores Park. For sure. There's enough of the world, and there's some. I'm not gonna give it away because that would spoil some stuff. But there are stories to be told about the world, if you will, in this universe. Let's just say that without me.
I have some ideas after visiting you. Brought up to you. So
I love it. Boy, Chuck getting more ideas is music to my ears, man. Music to my ears. Someone in the chat say NDA. Yes, exactly. NDA. I will not be pulling a Tom Holland or Saskas. I will not pull that. But yeah, we got plans. Let's just say that we do have some plans. Aces of Chaos with a 5 says, love to see the Gooding cover. Can't wait to add it to my collection in the spring. Thank you so much. I can't wait for you to get it. You guys are going to thoroughly enjoy it. What else we have? We have Albert with a 5 says, question regarding some colleagues. Says Fabian Mark and the original run of the New Warriors in the 90s. Your thoughts? The original run of the New Warriors? Yeah, I mean, it's not New Warriors. That to be fair, that never came out. But and I don't know if I've ever seen. Have you ever seen that, by the way, Chuck, where they've like actually fully announced something, trailers and all, and they just didn't put it out? Like, have you ever seen that in comics?
Yeah, I have seen that. I've seen that quite a bit.
You've seen it
coming soon, and then you never see it. We did stuff at DC where we set up like major events, and then they just never did them.
Just never went through on it. Yeah. That was interesting. Like the trailers, they went all in on this stuff, and the book just never came out.
Yeah. Well, you get change in editors or whatever, and they just throw out everything that came before them.
Gotcha.
That stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. We have Larry Parker with a 2 says, makes me feel good seeing y'all have fun. Look, we're having a blast, man, and y'all having fun as well. Is again, it's infectious. Darren Murphy with a 2 says, sign and graded cover D is not on the website. Did we really sell out of that? Can I get a confirmation?
Wow.
Did we really sell out of D? I mean, it is it's the most popular cover. Shout out to Mark Evans. I love that y'all had some difficulties choosing between the covers because they're all good. That's the point. But Mark Evans' painted cover is just so beautiful. And that is actually leading the way of the non-cover A. So between B, C, and D, it is over 3,000, by the way. And so is it actually?
That's my favorite one.
Yeah,
I love them all, but that's my favorite one.
Yeah, there you go. It's sold out.
Wow.
It's sold out.
Very cool.
So yeah, guys, looks like only A and B are there. So that's sorry. My apologies to the last chat. Because I thought you were referring to C. Sheep confirmed. It's sold out.
It's gone.
That thing's not there. So now only A and B. I don't know the numbers. I have to go on the back end, and after the stream, I'll announce those. But yeah, and I see our dev just told it. It's sold out. That shit's gone. So by the way, this still is up. If we can get that out, I guess that's interesting. I did not know that. I did not know that. So thank you so much for the continued support. Guys, you better be getting in. I know some people are waiting for Friday until they get paid. But if you want that signature series, that special gold label from Chuck himself signing it, you're going to want to get in right now. A and B are all that is left. We just got word of it. Someone says it's not even a week yet. It's not even 3 days, 3 full days yet. Like we're like 2 days and some change still into it. So yeah, this is kind of nuts. So yeah, those are sold out. They're gone. The signature series signed copies by Chuck are they're gone. So thanks for the heads up there, and I appreciate that. And shout out to everybody that's going to get a copy of that. AWM Fishing with a 5. Just got into comics. Thanks for your ISOM number 1. Any recommendations on what runs I should look to also getting? Well, I'm gonna be biased and tell you a bunch of getting the ALPHACORE and then getting the Yara number 1. But I tell you what, we'll angle it this way. Chuck, what is some of your what's your favorite part? No, Chuck, what as far as some stories that you've done, what are the books it is that you would recommend for someone if they wanted to be like, hey, that you've done?
Well, I mean, the first, I guess the first couple of years of Nightwing,
okay,
that was on, and I assume they're still available in print and trade paperback. There's an awesome collection, if it's still around, called oh god, I forget what it's a collection of Batman by me and Graham Nolan. It's some of our best Detective Comics issues.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of the collection, but if you put our names in, Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan, it pops up. So that's something to look for. But
there you go.
And then I've just done a lot.
You've done
so much of it's out of print now, so I don't want to suggest it because I don't want you paying crazy prices.
Yeah, there you go. So
they finally collected my Moon Knight, my 2 years of Moon Knight.
Yeah, you did a lot of that stuff. So
you grab that.
Yeah. That's so there you go, AWM Fishing. And I appreciate you becoming a customer of the Ripperverse, man. Thank you so much. Philly Chew with a 5 says, my favorite part of ISOM is when he asked Bloodruth her pronouns. Great work, Chuck and Eric. Looking forward to reading ALPHACORE. Yeah, that was a very powerful part of ISOM when he asked that to Bloodruth back there, because you can't obviously tell what Bloodruth was. Appreciate that. All right, Snuffy with a 10 says, how can this book be any good if you don't explicitly state what everyone's powers are? Yeah, there's some people that they want it spoke, and I guess I can ask you that, Chuck. Like, has that always? Well, that to me is the relative. I say this as a fan. To me, that's relatively new of a phenomenon, right? Where people want so much and want it now and want it immediately. But as far as because you've done some definitive versions of these characters and some of what they can do and what they're capable of doing, do you think this is like a new phenomenon of whether it be the TikTok generation of the short attention span where people just want everything immediately to know about these characters, or is that just something that there was just a pocket of the fandoms, if you will, over the years, and we're just now seeing it kind of coming to fruition?
I strongly suspect there's a gaming aspect here.
Okay. Okay.
It's like if you're in the fantasy football, you want to see the injury list.
Yeah.
I think there's a gaming aspect here.
Okay.
That they want to know specifically what these characters can and cannot do.
Okay.
So, but I'm not writing a game.
Yeah. There you go. That's true. That's true.
You have to learn about these characters as we go along.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the point. Larry Parker with a 2 said, and it feels good to be excited about comics again. It feels great to have you guys be excited about comics. Look, again, that's what this is about. Head Case Laboratory with a 2 released a Ripperverse magazine with sneak peeks. I did float that idea around. If there was a floppy that I was going to put out, we do like maybe a Ripperverse magazine thing, and maybe that's where we show some interior previews. We show some we do some interviews and stuff that's exclusive to that. I've really considered doing that. But like, it's one of those things, like, if I'm going to commit to it, like, I really want to do it. Like, so I got to just make sure that, okay, we're doing this, and we're going to make sure, like, I don't know how frequent it will drop. We're going to make sure that we do this. So but I would love to do something like that. It'd be maybe a cheap option. We can give away our memberships as well, for people to kind of just get in on what's going down with the Riververse. So
A magazine would be great, man. Your crew is so much fun.
yeah,
You get them involved. And
yeah,
that would be a blast.
yeah. I do think that'd be something that we could do for sure.
Yeah.
I think that'd be something that we can do. Okay. Jazz Pena with a 2 says, who wins in a fight, Bane or Captain America?
Captain America all day long. Bane's a degenerate drug addict. I know. I love him. But
the creator himself is telling you. The creator himself is telling you. We have a 5 from Grateful Dog with a 5 says, thanks to both of you for being a welcome haven for those that were pushed out of modern comics for a modern audience. Hyped for ALPHACORE. I'm hyped that you are hyped. I appreciate you, and I thank you so much.
We're doing this for you. We're doing this for us too. We're underserved too. And you're underserved.
100%. 100%. CJ says, I want a nice sandwich at Boy Howdy. Then go out for drinks at Club Merc. Hey, there you go. That's a great time. Hey, CJ, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. We have Polymath says monkey. Yeah, people I know the pronunciation of that. People heard me. It's like, I didn't know that was how you say it, like Polymath. Like, yeah, that's how you say it. We on Log Nation with a 5 says, Eric, I'm gonna try to get some ALPHACORE books. Life is hard, but I'm going to try to hey, they'll be around. They ain't going nowhere. So you take care of you. You take care of you. We're gonna make sure we always have copies here available to you. You take care of you. We'll be here. We ain't going nowhere. So don't even worry about it, man. Raceland with a 5 says, I bought ISOM 2 and ALPHACORE yesterday. Hell yeah. Is there other books I'm missing? Like I keep seeing Yaira mention. No, Yaira will be the book that comes out after ALPHACORE. So you haven't missed anything. The next book is going to be ALPHACORE. So once that starts fulfillment, you're going to get, and that's a great, you got in perfect because that means you took advantage maybe of that $65 bundle right there where you can get ISOM 1, ISOM 2, as well as ALPHACORE. That's 300 plus pages of material for the Riververse, everything that we've released up to this point, minus like the concept art book and all that, but everything that we released up on this point with the actual books. So yeah, absolutely. That's a great time to get in, but Yaira will be next. And then we got Gooding and Polymath. We got some unannounced projects that are being worked on as well. So we're going to be rocking and rolling going into 2024, which makes this incredibly exciting. And I'm excited just in general. Heck's Laboratory with a 2. Can Silverback be an except that negates power? Perhaps I have to take that up with ass. We got Sean with a 10. Says nothing. So I want to ask you this because obviously this is uncharted territory, right? This is I love that you mentioned yesterday on our stream on Tuesday Night Main Event. You talk about comics have always been like this changing thing. And you're right? Definitely as someone that's been around for decades, you understand that. So we're entering into this new age that looks a lot different from, let's say, the establishment kind of standard, if you will. Maybe there isn't going to be an industry standard anymore. I don't know. But do you think that this change that we're seeing, we know crowdfunding has kind of implemented just a different animal, right? Right? Do you think that this is different? Because you were going through the 90s, right? Remember the image boom and all that stuff that happened out of that. How does this compare to the other changes that we've seen in comics over the decades?
I think this is a healthy change.
Okay.
A really healthy change. I don't as good as the early 90s were to me, the image boom was it hurt comics.
Okay.
Because they weren't concerned with maintaining quality.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was there was a boom and then a big bust. I mean, people around remember sales just fell off a cliff. Like
Oh, yeah.
1 month to the next, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
over. The cycle ended with a bang, and it left all of us surprised. Like, oh my god, we're not going to be making the money we made before. And it's because of the they weren't concerned with the quality. And you are. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the image guys. Oh, I need somebody to write my book. I'll hire my college roommate.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the key to success. That's
I
not the
know.
key to lasting quality.
Yeah.
You got to bring in pros who know what they're doing. And they did that at Image, but they did it too late.
Yeah.
And it all came crashing down. So, but comics are always changing and they're always going through trends. I mean, if you know your comic history, I tell people this all the time and they're shocked. In the 1970s, DC's biggest selling titles were Sergeant Rock and Jonah Hex. They couldn't give Superman, Batman away.
No.
So you got to roll with trends. You got to go with trends. But if nothing else, this model, this crowdfunding model, this truly independent model, we are so nimble. We can move on a dime.
Oh, yeah. I just put out a shirt today. That's how quick we can do it.
Yeah. So we're not, and as long as we're giving the readers what they want and maintaining the quality and we're serious about this, and we're doing what we love and sharing that enthusiasm and love with the readers. For real, I know it sounds maudlin and sort of sentimental and all that stuff, but I just love this stuff and I love it when other people love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, man, because everything is like, I'm seeing it, especially with the business stuff, which obviously that's what, I'm doing here. I'm trying to facilitate making sure that money's looking good. Everything's coming in. People were delivering, just Rippaverse is doing what it needs to do. And we're seeing that change, right? Comparatively speaking, as well, just the business in general. And I know crowdfunding kind of changed the game as well. And in just the overall uncertainty with the big dogs. Like, and especially with the media, the big dogs, like it used to. I think that's probably what changed, just in my honest opinion, a lot. Because, or let me say this, what it did was you can really identify the things that fundamentally changed by looking at that, right? Because there was once upon a time where media mattered in the sense that you got notified of what's happening and what's going down with comic book media or whatever it was. Now, we've been iced out. CBR doesn't cover us. Blood Bleeding Cool doesn't cover us. Comics Beat doesn't cover. None of these guys cover us.
Right.
Yet here we are, right? About over 810,000 with our campaign. It's the biggest story right now in independent comics, and they've not said. I'm not saying that to say, well, they need to be covering us. What I'm saying is the fact that they don't control the industry like that anymore. Like it's just it doesn't march to their beat anymore, which is
if they ever did. I think that was all an illusion anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they don't, it just makes no sense. It sort of takes the sheep's clothing off the wolf there, because these are websites that need content, and they need hits, and they are consciously not covering you and the work you're doing, and it's hurting them. It's not hurting you; it's hurting them.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
They need those hits. Imagine how many hits they'd get if they would continuously cover what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they said I hate it, and I think it's all crap, they get all the people that hate it hitting on it, and all the people that love it hitting on it to say you're full of shit. It's great stuff.
True. That's true. That's very true.
They won't do it.
Yep. That's a good point. That's actually a great point.
It's as stupid as DC and Marvel making books nobody wants. And keep making books nobody. I tell you, man, when back in the day when your book got below a certain amount in sales, it was panic time. It's like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, that's the reader's fault because they're so stupid. They don't get what we're doing. Oh.
You joke, but that's what's happening.
What's happening?
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Funny because it's true.
Yeah, that's what's happening. It's almost like, hey, we have to live up as customers to their standard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you got to be good enough. You got to be good enough to read my book, and it's like, what the hell are you going on about? Because to your point, back in the gap, once that threshold you passed that, you were like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, it might be. Hopefully, I get put on some more work or whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah, we gotta make some changes.
Yeah,
do something.
Yeah, and this time
facing cancellation.
Yeah, most definitely. But this time now it's like they're being rewarded, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, we'll cancel it and we'll release a new number one in 3 months. The same
exactly.
character that nobody wanted the last 16 times.
Oh, Captain Marvel. Oh,
Captain
man.
Marvel. How many number ones have there been? Dozens and dozens. Nobody wants it. They'll never learn.
Putting it perfect. But I also have to, and I see y'all super chatting. By the way, Sheep, I did see the one that got hit. I'll read that here in a little bit. But I don't think we got a chance to, since we've had you back. I know we talked about it the first time, like back in the gap, we talked about this whole thing. But you reminded me of it because of the whole cancellation thing. And we talked about them making Tim Drake gay out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And we discussed that. And I remember you mentioning it's not like they made him more interesting.
No,
they didn't. It's just he's just gay now.
he's
That's about it. And now he's flamboyantly gay. He's doing things that are not Tim Drake. Like, so I know it's different, right? Definitely if you are writing a character that had been around before. But when you see this goofy shit happen, right, to characters that like the fucking back of your hand, like you got the receipts to prove it. What goes through Chuck Dixon's mind when you see stuff like that? Because obviously we know your work on Robin and the rest of the Bat family and everything, but you see something like that happen, like what the hell's going on through your mind?
Well, it's just that it's lazy writing. It's, back in the 90s, if you wanted to make your character interesting, you killed them.
Kill them off.
Now you make them gay. And it's like, it's the only answer they have. And it's like, it doesn't make them more interesting. People that are gay aren't just, let's face it. Gay people are assimilated into our society. Everybody knows somebody who's gay. We just don't give a shit. We don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't want to know what you do if you're straight.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any of that. Too much information,
Yeah.
So it doesn't make you more interesting. If you had a character and said, well, he's a heterosexual, and the guy's like going, yeah, I like girls. Well, that doesn't make it.
We'd be like, that's weird as fuck. That's a good point. We'd be like, that's fucking weird, man.
That doesn't, I keep using the point of the show The Wire. On the show The Wire, there was a character, Omar. And Omar was gay. But when you think of Omar, you don't really think first. You think badass first.
Yeah.
You think all these interesting conflict issues he had first. You don't think any of that. The gay stuff, that's just a sideline.
Yeah.
Just like when you see any straight character in a story, you don't go, oh, well, he's sleeping with a woman. What are you, 5?
Do our victory laps. We do headlines. Character is now heterosexual. Like, what the fuck? That'd be so weird, man. That'd be so weird. But putting it in that context, it sounds goofy, and it is goofy. But that's what they're doing with the whole make everything gay thing. To the point that now South Park's obviously put a chick in and make it gay is now.
That's now part of the culture.
Exactly.
That's phrase of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just kind of term phrase now. But yeah, it is mind-boggling to see it. But what I find more impressive about the mainstream and just modern comics in general is how stubborn they are, right? And how we've seen ideas just not work. You brought up a good point with the reboot system. So we know that they made John Kent gay, right? And sales fell off a cliff, but they stopped it. They rebooted it. I don't even know if that's even came out yet, but they were going to do this limited series, right? Is what it is, they said. And, still centered around this idea. And every time they talk about it, hey, it's now that he's gay, because that's the only defining trait now, right? Of these characters. So what I find most impressive is how, despite you see something like that, they do it again. They fucking do it again. They will like say, all right, this didn't fucking work at all. Like it actually was it was a fucking failure. Let's just try to give it another shot.
Yeah.
Give it another shot. Yeah. I don't understand that logic. But maybe you could take us through kind of going through this stuff over the years. Like, what does that look like? Okay, sales are going down with a particular, or there was an idea, maybe something happened, maybe there was a fundamental change in the character, and the fans like rejected it, right? And they said, you know what? And they show it with their dollars. Not that they just voiced they show with their dollars. They said, look, man, we're out. What was the old process? Like, what happened after that? Like, is it just they were off? How does that work?
Well, once upon a time, if your sales went down, you got fired. You got taken off the book, and your artist got taken off the book because they don't know who to blame.
Mm-hmm.
So they just made a clean sweep, and they announced, new creative team, and that's what you lived with. I mean,
Yeah.
you knew if I don't keep my sales up, if I don't keep my books interesting, I'm out. And so you could never rest. You were always running, and that's gone away now. Particularly at DC, they go, well, we're going to relaunch everything. We're going to reboot everything. And who's going to do it? The guys who did the last effed up reboot. Well, what new idea do they have? They don't have any new ideas. They're just, using the same people over and over and over again, the reboot. And it's like, no, you got to bring in new people.
Yeah.
It's like the example I used when we were talking, I forget when it was last night, the new 52.
Mm-hmm.
The new 52, if they'd given that to 52 different creative teams and just go run wild, forget about continuity, forget about anything, just make the best comic you can make, that half of them would have been hits. But instead, they micromanage it. They have someone on top saying, no, don't do this, do that, do that. And you end up with, 52, vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's fucking forgettable. It's essentially
Yeah.
what you do. Right.
But so apparently on these creators and these editors of these companies, there's no pressure to succeed.
That's a good point. Like, again, it's falling upwards is equivalent to what it is that we see. Like it's no merit here. It's like who and I think it's evident even in who they've blacklisted, and who they refuse to work. I think that kind of shows, right? It's like I don't look at it like, okay, well, this person also just got a job. I also look at the fact that, well, I'm not going to name names, but okay, why is that person in the position and y'all hadn't brought on like a Chuck Dixon or Mike Barron or someone to fix this shit? So I'm looking at who they don't bring on just as much as I'm looking at who they do bring on. And it just doesn't make sense. It's illogical, but I think that's what happens when you have the crazy people kind of running the asylum. That's what we got. We got crazy fuckers, for lack of better terms, running the asylum, and it's a structural problem. We actually, me and I think we talked about it last night, but we also talked about it today. Az and I, we were streaming earlier, just about how you look at something like that ending of this new trailer with the Marvels, right, and this whole Black Girl Magic goofball shit, right? You look at that, you can't look at it like, I mean, you can, but I'm not looking at it like, okay, that's a stupid thing to put in that trailer. But I'm looking at it also like, bro, how many layers or how many people vetted this and nobody said you don't do that. So that's a structural, foundational leadership problem that you have where nobody was one or two things happened. They all were incompetent and they all thought this was the greatest thing in the world, or the people that knew better didn't have enough power to stop it, which to me is just as bad. You still end up with the same thing, right? I don't know which one of them it is, but you still end up effectively with the same thing. I think we got a lot of that in comics.
Well, the way these things go is you've got an alpha dog in the meeting, and he's like, "This is the way it's going to be." And if you stand up and go, "I think that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard," you're gone.
Yeah, you're out.
And that was always my problem in comics. I was the guy standing up going, "That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. We can't be doing that." I killed an entire year's continuity on Superman.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one to stand up and go, "That is stupid." and I said, and when Paul Levitz hears about this, he's going to say that's stupid too. And they kept on with it. And then they wasted months of work because when Paul saw it, he says, "We can't do that. That's idiotic."
Yeah.
But but in these Hollywood meetings, they're just thinking about their parking spot and their office and their salary and their bonus. and where they're going to have lunch, and they'll just go, yeah, that's terrific. That's
awesome. We're gonna kill it with this black girl magic thing, man. That's
yeah. The car's going off the cliff. That's fine. Maybe something cool will happen when we get to the bottom. You know, it's like black girl magic.
Oh, that was that was the crazy thing about it. It was the final trailer. Like, this is the one, right? This movie comes out Friday, so this is the one. This is the one. Like, if people are gonna, you want people to go watch this movie, and that's the last damn thing I see in the trailer. That's what I'm supposed to be left with, right? That's the impactful ish part.
Well, I mean, I think it's stupid, but you got to tell me how demeaning was it?
Well, first of all, I hate that phrase. I'm gonna tell you why I hate it, because what the reason why, first of all, for the people that don't understand kind of origin of that stupid phrase, it's like you'll see people, I don't know if it's a social media thing, and you'll see just black women like do regular shit. Like when I say like things that nobody would know, certainly a man, like black or not, would be pat on the back for doing something, even if it's somewhat impressive. But they do something, even if it's like mildly impressive, and then they'll say black girl magic. And I think that's just the corniest. That's me. I've never liked that. Was a stupid ass phrase to begin with. But to put it in that environment, like I said, I don't know who. Well, maybe that is who they're trying to sell to, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't fucking know.
I don't. Again, it's lazy writing.
Yeah,
it's lazy writing. Does that make her any more interesting?
No, it doesn't make Monica Rambeau more interesting.
No. I mean, what you know? Don't even get me started on this stuff, because I've been in those meetings too.
Yeah.
Well, we need to create an African American character here. To join this cast. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, what's interesting about it?
Yeah.
He likes to read. And I'm like, oh, that's not too insulting. That makes him special. So is he clean and articulate too? In other words, what you're saying is it makes him different from every other black person.
Yeah, like what kind of insulting shit is? Yeah, exactly. What kind of insulting shit? Well, because he can read now. Now all of a sudden
he likes to read.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, no, seriously though. Like that. It's insulting. It is 100% insulting, and that's what I'm looking at it with. It's a foundational structural problem where they went into it, and all these guys at the round table just nodding their head. Yes, like this is it. We saw this at the marketing meeting, and we saw this the last thing. We need people to go see this movie. We spent $300 million. We got to have people go see this movie. This was the last thing, like literally at the end of the trailer. What's the last thing we're going to leave these guys with? We're going to have Monica Rambeau saying a falling, for whatever reason, free falling. I guess it was Kamala Khan. And we're going to have Nick Fury yell black girl magic at her because it's this trendy, stupid phrase by youngsters. And we're just going to have her. I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. But it's not just, I can sit up here and blame like one person, but it's like, no, for something like that to happen because of what all was on the line.
Oh, yeah.
They were all in on it. They were all in on it.
Clueless, completely clueless.
Fucking out of their minds, man. But such is Marvel and DC these days. Let me get to this just real quick. We got Eric Baylor with a 5 says, are you using a country as a template for names, or is it all new names and unique locations to this world specifically? Great work. Well, I'm looking at a lot of it. Obviously, you look at Flores Park as fictional, but I'm looking at it like it's a we talked about it a little earlier. It's a Texas town, right? It is very much a Texas town, and I'm picking up what all I've known about Texas, being here for as long as I've been in and lived different lifestyles and had different experiences. And that's what this is about as far as my approach here. And, there are some dynamics we'll be discussing later, maybe in some other material, and even how that impacts those characters and just the cities and states and all that stuff and how that's impacted. Like, it's so many ideas that we have. But I pick and choose my spots, right? Some things are like, hey, if you're from here, this is gonna be maybe resonate with you a little more, but it's also understanding this is a universe it is that we're creating, so we kind of can do whatever it is that we want, as long as it makes sense from our world standpoint. So we
definitely have plans of what is the significance of Forest Park in this world? What is the significance of Texas?
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Now I know I got to add more aggressive drivers into my story.
now you have to know that. Yes, because you were just here, so that's something that
Just here, man.
Yeah,
It was
Chuck.
Mad Max there on the 121. Jesus.
121 is
God.
Mad Max. 121, 100% is Mad Max, man. It's that's exactly what it is. Okay, let me see where exactly I was at. We have a 10 from Sean. No message. I appreciate that. Chuck and Eric make a teleporting ninja character. Are you telling us to make a teleporting ninja character the way Blur? I can consider it. Blunt objections with a 10 says, I was wondering if there are any plans for Mendogamy cards to be issued now that more characters have been introduced as Ice on 1. Please take my money. Yes. So the next cards are going to be released during the Yaira campaign, done by the same team, Will Conrad. He's the one that did the poster as well that you guys see. So Will Conrad he did all the cards. We already have them done. The art's done. The text done. We just need to get the actual card designs. I'll get with Patrick about those. Those will be available for the Yaira campaign. Okay, so keep that in mind. And they will include characters from ISOM 2, ALPHACORE, as well as Yaira. So you'll get all of that from these characters here. So
and characters to be named.
Yeah, and characters to be named for sure. Yeah, there's some more. There are some more. Larry Parker with a 5 says, I don't think the industry even knows its standards anymore. It's a Royal Rumble that no one is going to win, says Larry Parker. Yeah, I mean, what are the industry standards? I guess is a great question because it is changing now. And there is an old, archaic, maybe broken sort of model that they're still operating on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be working for them.
Yeah, what are the industry considerations? And they are not the audience.
Yeah.
They are not the readers.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Raceland with a 5 says, I didn't pay attention enough to see a combo pack individually, clicked and added. Card worth it, though, even though it costs a bit more. Oh, well, gotta take advantage of those bundles. Take advantage of those bundles while they're there. Take advantage of those bundles. Raceland, hey, I appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you so much. We got a 2 from Cape Crusader. Says, will there be more storage box available? It won't be of that. The Canaan White box is those are sold out. It's funny. That's why you do inventory. Brand is doing inventory. And like this is why I think Wild Chuck was there. Brandon's doing the inventory, and he reaches out to our dev, like, cut it off, get it, like, because he's counting, he's realizing that we barely got any more. So he's like, cut them off. But yeah, so there's no more, and we won't get those reprinted. I would like to do another short box for sure, but we have to kind of do our thing with that and develop it and make that make sense. But yeah, those won't be reprinted. So you got a little collector's item as well as something to store your comic, your ALPHACORE comics, or any comics for that matter from the Riververse. Rebel with a 5 says, got cover C on launch day, but caved in and got CGC cover D earlier. Seeing it sold out now, I made the right choice. Great work. Yeah, good call on that. Good call on that. We have Sir Toad with a 10 says, just bought all of Nightfall and about to get ALPHACORE. Hell yeah. I'm so excited. Also, do you think we will see a ninja? Somebody just asked this. Different person. Ninja type character in the Riververse in the near future. Keep on rising legends. Perhaps. Look, man, there's a lot of characters to be created. A lot.
I can see a personal message from Joe in a couple hours. Let's do a ninja character.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I bet. And then he messaged me like, hey, man, me and Chuck came up with this sick idea. And then I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Stitch with a 20 says, I normally just drop memberships here, but since Chuck is on, I like to express my appreciation for all he has given us in the comics through the years. So happy that he's in the Rippaverse now. Thank you so much. I'm obviously happy that he's here.
I'm happy too.
I'm obviously stoked that he's here. So thank you so much, Stitch. I appreciate that 20. There we have Larry Parker with a fight in Arlen, Texas, another fictional series, which is basically Arlington and Allen, which is how they got the name Arlen from King of the Hill, which is right. It's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm like between both of those cities. So yeah, maybe Larry Parker, appreciate that. Ryo with a 5 says, it's an inspiration to watch your company grow as a fellow Texan. Shout out. Well, we appreciate you here. Thank you so much. Jordan, who designed this little background thing that you guys see right here, says, I made ALPHACORE background for StreamYards. Oh, you did? Well, I need to get that added.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Someone I need to get reminded of that. I need to get reminded of that to add that. So cool, Jordan. Appreciate that. I will make sure as we do more streams here on StreamYard. Yeah, I'll make sure I get those. So thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you so much. Chris B with a 5 says significance of being in Texas. Meth Gary, which we've joked about in the trailer, is powered by brisket and red soda. Well, that'd be realistic. And is banned for life from Schlitterbahn. Okay, I'll take that. Yeah, Gary's really liking. You're gonna learn more about that character in the ALPHACORE. Gary said he saw himself there in the trailer. 2 from Splice Stream says, will the Ripper Lambo be signed and graded? There is no Ripper Lambo. I will not be buying a Lamborghini. Great US Treasure Hunt with a 10 says, those 3-box bundles make perfect Christmas gifts for all age. Yeah, there you go. That's a good, and you'll be able to get those. So
Santa's coming.
It is right around the corner next month. Speaking of, we have Brandon right here giving me 5 so I can give him it back in payroll. It says Riververse Christmas coloring book for kids. I'll be up for that. We got to get it made though.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it will be cool. Pretty sick for that. Appreciate that, Brando, man. But no, okay. We're gonna look at this real quick. If you guys don't mind, actually, that's the wrong thing right there. Let me still showing the Gooding thing. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, guys. This number is not right, by the way. But what I have. Thank you, guys. Over 810,000 is actually the actual number. Remember, we do have a new shirt that we just added. The What's Your Favorite Part shirt with Brian, as well as Isam himself. On this, you can go check this out. Pretty sure you love it. So thank you all for all the love that you guys have shown here. We added that as part of the 800K. We are breezing through these benchmarks. Up next, the big benchmark is going to be 1 million. So we're creeping on to come up. We'll be there sooner than later. So we appreciate you all and for all the support that you guys have been given for this book. Only 2.5 days in on this. We got some CGC copies that are selling out, so you're gonna want to get in those immediately because they're about to be gone. So all right, Chuck, one last time if you could before we get up out of here, just another pitch for this book, ALPHACORE #1, which of course is wrote by you, and as we see right here, it is penciled by Joe Bennett. One last pitch before we get out of here.
It's everything you like in like a great police action flick, and it's everything you like in the superhero thing. I've thrown everything in here. I've sort of mashed together 2 genres, and working with Joe Bennett, I think we've successfully done that. Big stuff happens in this book. Plus, you get to learn more about these characters, and not by them sitting around having coffee talking about themselves either, but by them actually doing stuff, and solving crimes and stuff getting broken. And I don't know what do we do? We introduce maybe a dozen or more brand new supporting characters. Book. We're adding more and more to the universe. We're growing the universe. We're building it. Eric and now Mike and the Saskas. We're just creating this new world for you folks. And ALPHACORE is a big part of exploring that world.
Certainly is, guys. Again, go to riververse.com. You can get in on that. I saw Q Ball there. You said hit me with a direct dono concert. I'm actually looking for it right now. I see it. $100. He says, hell, got all of the covers graded and ungraded. So far have gotten every cover offered by the River. Oh, so you got everything that we've ever put out as far as covers. You're a big time fan, man. I appreciate you, man. Big time. Says love the stories and characters. Can't wait for more. Y'all inspire me. Love Chuck and his work. Fave Batman run. War of Separation book win. I don't know. Maybe something's being I don't know. Potentially could be. I don't know. Maybe something's being worked.
That's a great idea.
That's a fantastic idea. to do something on that. Just an absolute fantastic idea. Appreciate you, Q Ball, man. You know I love to see you here. Sorry I missed that. That's $100. That ain't cheap by any means. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're gonna wrap it up here. It was nice to kind of chat about everything ALPHACORE, what's going on with the comic book industry. Having a blast. I'm having an absolute blast with this whole universe. Chuck's having fun, Mike's having fun, Sascha's having fun, and most importantly, you guys are having fun. And that's what this is all about. So I appreciate you guys that have already supported, that have already bought a copy of ALPHACORE, and inevitably the people that will be buying it in the coming days. We appreciate the hell out of you so much. But we're going to be out of this. Trust me, you're going to see a lot of Chuck over the next weeks. We'll be chatting about it. He'll be on shows talking about ALPHACORE and everything that's going on with the Rippaverse, man. He is as important as anybody else to this universe. So it's great to kind of see this thing with his first project here having the success it is that it's having. So
I'm very grateful. Joe and I are very, very grateful. I can't wait till you read it. Till you all get to read it and we hear back from you.
Yes, we'll get your feedback on ALPHACORE dropping very soon next month. Fulfillment, first week of December, officially fulfillment will start. But all right, guys, we got to get out of here. We'll see you next time. I'm actually going to leave this live. This will not be a part of the member wall. So if you got in here late, you'll be able to see it. Thank you all so much. We're going to see you next time, and peace out.